Hey folks, this is Sam Roberts.
Hey, this is Kim Mitchell.
This is Hannah Georges.
This is Matt Mee.
This is Derry Graham from Honeymoon Suite, and you are listening to...
You're listening to...
And you're listening to
The Hulk Caesar Show.
Welcome to the Hulk Caesar Show. I am your host, Hulk Caesar. My illustrious co-host, Newfoundland songbird Emily Malloy, is once again away from us, working on Hudson and Rex. Tonight's guest is the co-chair external for St. John's Pride, a passionate advocate for community. He's dedicated to making Pride a vibrant festival that highlights local talent, sparks important conversations, and strengthens connections across the 2SLGBTQIA plus community. Whether he's bringing new events to life, amplifying diverse voices, or working to ensure everyone feels safe and seen, his work in Pride is all about unity and belonging. Eddy St. Coeur, welcome to the Hulk Caesar Show.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
We used to be a strings-only show here with a small selection of songs played on our very limited edition Costco keyboard, but things have really opened up for us lately. We've had some saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
We had a trumpet, and a little later on tonight, we'll be joined by our musical guest, Aramaria Yetman, who's going to play the mighty accordion for us. It's truly the golden age of local, low-budget talk shows. Eddy St. John's Pride has grown so much in the past few years. What are you most excited about for this year's festival?
I think what I'm most excited about is seeing it all come together because it grew again. Like over the last 3 years, between like different community organizations doing events and just the events that we added and we produce ourselves as an organization, we're up to 32, 34 events as of today. Every once in a while we get a phone call from somebody that says we're going to do this, and we try and help get the word out about it. But it's a really big festival this year, and there's a lot of like we're still doing the annual beach fire that's been going on a Tuesday in July since the 70s.
Oh, since the 70s, eh?
Since the 70s, yeah, it's really cool. And like we brought Pride After Dark back this year, and it's just there's so much going on, and I'm really excited to take it all in and get to as many things as I can, because I think that's going to be everybody's challenge this year.
Yeah.
But it's just such a really nice mix of events to see.
What dates is it running from?
So we start with the flag going up in St. John's on July 9th at City Hall, and then we run right on through until the parade day, which is July 20th, and then we go up to the parade and we end at Pride in the Park.
Nice. Beyond celebration, Pride has always been political. What does St. John's Pride aim to achieve in terms of advocacy and visibility in our community?
Well, for this year, when we were talking about every year we try and pick a Grand Marshal. St. John's has a Grand Marshal program. Different cities have.
What does that mean?
So it's just for us, we try and pick an organization or a group or a facet of the community or a champion of the community, and we give them the space at the front of the parade. So last year it was Palestine Action YYT. This year, with all the politicizing this word every time this word
I don't even try it.
with all the politicizing of the trans community right now, we're seeing it in we saw it in legislation across Canada. We're seeing it really come in through the States. It was a really quick conversation this year. We said trans support Newfoundland and Labrador is the most appropriate person to kind of put at the front of the parade this year. I mean, because historically, especially when it comes to pride organizations, they weren't great at making sure that trans people had the protection that came from the community. There was this really weird offset historically, and it caused friction here in St. John's, caused frictions across the Pride movement across the world, and it's still something that comes up. And it was one of those moments this year of no, we're drawing a line in the sand when it comes to this. And what we need right now is to put that section of the community that's often the most vulnerable and the most at risk, and the ones that are being attacked, and the ones in usually the smallest numbers. We're going to put them right at the front of the parade. So quite literally, we have the entire community in the city marching behind this section of our community to drive the point home.
Great. Now, can you tell us a little bit about how the board decides on the mix of events each year? For example, how do you balance kind of fun with meaningful conversations?
So I think that we ran into this formula a couple of years ago. Last year, we really locked it in where we had, okay, so we want to make sure that there's a bunch of different facets of the community. There's a bunch of different, there's 3 pillars that we kind of ground ourselves in. So we believe that Pride as a movement is founded on the 3 P's. So there's, first and foremost, it's a protest movement. It always was a protest movement. It was the protest for a group of people for the right to exist as themselves. And then second to that, it's the protection that comes from the community, creating those safer spaces, and the community coming together makes them safe. And then thirdly, it's that party, it's that celebration, because for one, we got to celebrate something.
Gotta celebrate something.
We get crushed under everything else. And then there's also that party in itself is the protest, in spite of all of these things and everything else. So that party element has to be there. So last year we started an intergenerational panel series that Rhea Roman moderates. So she's one of our queer historians here in the city. So that kind of touches on, that's trying to reach across and tell stories that like people might not be aware of or people might not have heard or experienced because things have changed a lot. And then we realize that we also want to showcase as much queer art as we can. There's so many cool artists. And I mean, Aramaria is here tonight. You're going to get to hear her. And it's such, you know, we have to take that opportunity. What are we doing it for otherwise? So we have our queer showcase night, Pride After Dark, and we're doing that back at the Sheridan. So there's 25 artists that are all being showcased on stage that night. And then what we started to see, and this happened 3 years ago when the festival almost collapsed and we had about 7 weeks to bring it together. We went out, we started making phone calls and finding out what was going on, and we realized that the community already thought that the organization was going to implode. And so they just started planning.
Yeah.
So when we called them, when we started mapping it all out on a calendar, we ended up with 11 days. And we said, okay, well, that's it. We're going to run it for 11 days and see how we make out. And then what we realized that we're really good at is we're good at the visibility because people know the name. People like Pride is a really big brand no matter where you are.
Yeah.
We've got people with skills that can do funding applications and make pitches to provincial government, federal government, municipal governments, also to businesses and those kinds of things and try and make connections across the community. But what really makes the festival a success is when somebody comes up to us and says, I have this idea for a thing. And if it's a nonprofit, if it's a community benefit, then we go, yeah, sure. Let's figure that out. We'll help you figure that out. We have a community planning session back in February, and we ask people what they want. We really try and keep in mind that like it's not my festival.
Yeah.
It's not what I want to see in a festival. I mean,
It must be challenging for a lot of festivals like that, I guess, to not kind of book what you want to see when you have the power to book.
yeah, right. Like that's it. No, I mean, like, you know, being a volunteer organization, we do get some say in the decisions and that, but we do a lot of consulting because I've got to get people out to these things.
Yeah.
And we try and do events as accessible as we can. Most of the events are pay what you can. I think there's 4 events on the calendar that are ticketed, costed events. And even there, we try and keep the prices down. We've included ASL wherever we can in all the different things, because the community is so multifaceted. Like there's no queer person. There's no like I used to work in marketing and advertising, so we used to look at demographics.
Yeah.
We used to have like personas at the back of an ad campaign, and it was like, this is Lucy. Lucy, you know, is a doctor and does these things. This is what
good for Lucy.
I know Lucy's doing great. But you know, I think there's this belief, especially from outside of the community, that somebody has a stereotypical queer person in their head. But in reality, in practice, our community is not like that. So by having different community groups and having people in the community identify and say, and encouraging them to say, well, I think this would be interesting, and I've got 4 or 5 friends that thinks this will be interesting. Well, let's give it a shot, and let's see how it goes. And that's how we ended up with, like, there's a bird watching event this year, and
Great.
There's a scientist who works for Environment Canada there's this queer birding chapter that exists across the country, and one didn't exist here, and they were like, hey, do you think I could do this? Do you think this would be a thing? We were like, yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? Like, let's figure it out. And then we went and we found funding to pull it together, and then we took their skills, and now, hopefully, once the festival's done, there's a whole community of people now that all made a connection and found community around bird watching.
Amazing.
And hopefully they keep bird watching. Like and people are super excited about that.
I'm sure they are.
There's a couple of people that are like, no way. Like, all right, if that's what you want, we'll give it to you.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. From her appearance on the program back in May, it's Rachel Cousins with Nora on the Host Caesar Show.
hate the way you talk about yourself. Nora, I know you'd never speak that way to someone else. Nora, I wish that you could feel the way I do about you. Wish that was I know you'd never speak that way to someone else, Nora. I wish that you could feel the way I do about you. Wish that was true.
Welcome back to the Hulk Caesar Show, where we're joined by the co-chair external for St. John's Pride, Eddy St. Coeur. Eddy St. John's Pride hosts a variety of art events, such as Pride After Dark, History of a Drag Queen, and Glitter Tits and Rainbow Bits. How important is art and performance to Pride's mission?
Oh, it's huge. Like, I think one of the, I mean, even now in outside of the queer community, like you look at the magnitude that the series, all the drag series have, and like all the spin-offs that are coming up, and and there's also a bunch of web series and everything else. Queer art is often on the front edge of what's going on. Like if you go down to a lot of drag events that are happening, even not just drag, if you go to a lot of queer performance art, or if you go take in queer art, a lot of times it's commentary on what's really current, what's really happening. Like I'm sure there's people who are in town going to see certain shows this week. They're not getting some of the jokes because that's how tuned into the local scene a lot of these artists are, because a lot of them are really young people, and I mean young people just in general are having a hard go of it right now.
Yep.
And they're really working on their craft. They're really taking it seriously. They're really trying to perfect what they're doing, and they're really trying to figure out what performance art is. And so that's why we have this Pride After Dark event that happens this year. It's happening on July 11th at the Sheraton Hotel. And I think we have 20 local artists that take the stage that night, and there's musicians who are playing, there are drag performers, there's dancers, there's burlesque performers, there's pole performances, there's DJs that are playing, and that's just one night. Then we're also doing a stage with the folk festival, and we're also doing a singer-songwriter circle at the First Light Center for the Performing Arts, and that comes together so easily. And wherever you kind of go to, whenever you're in community, there's always art. No matter where it is, you see that art's there. And we think it's really important too for people that are traveling here, and also just for people that, you know, they might not be tuned, local queer people, local people in general who are coming to these events, who might not have exposure to this kind of art. They might not have exposure to these kinds of takes on different things, these kinds of ways of expressing things, and being able to feature that is super cool. And like I don't always get to see all the shows because often I'm running in the background trying to help out with production, because they are big, they're huge production shows. But to see people come in and to hear them talk about different performers that were going on, and then when we see the photography come back, you just realize like how talented people here in the city and how talented queer artists here in the city. So if we can give them the stage, and that becomes part of the festival, and then we're able to sign them a check that's definitely not as high as we'd like it to be, but as more respectable than kind of what these artists will often get for 1 gigs, 2 gigs in the run of a week. Let's do it. Let's take what we can, take the resources that we can find and pump them into what's going on in the community. And a lot of it is art. And when you go through a lot of queer art in Newfoundland and Labrador, there's a lot of queer people that are involved in it, like right back to Codco, even before Codco. But like, I'm not from this province, but I can really quickly pick out really strong queer comedians in Newfoundland and Labrador and in St. John's and in Canada that went big. Like Rick Mercer. Like it's really easy to do it. And one thing that is really, I don't know, what's really one of the great takeaways, because we volunteer for this and we love doing it, is seeing how excited these artists get to do these different kinds of shows. Yeah. Seeing them go down to Drag on George and take that stage and go through this round of competition and then be that person that wins the trip to Toronto Pride and the cash prize at the end of it. But these artists take this really seriously. Like for us, we're doing. Trust me, I got put in drag for the ECMA red carpet, and it was a great time. But really got an appreciation for what these performers are doing, just with that facet of art. Let alone musicians that have been playing for decades and trying to really hone what they're doing or doing vocal work. And to see how appreciative the community is, and then to see how much people get that exposure to that art, absolutely. And then what we're trying to do this year is bring in different types of art. So we've got Jaylene Time, who's a 60 Scoop survivor and was on season 5 of Canada's Drag Race. And we're bringing her in from British Columbia, and what we're going to, it's also about what we give back, what we give to the community, and what they can take from the festival. So we work with Quadrangle and First Light to make a closed space just for Two-Spirit community members, so that they can meet with her and do kind of a sharing circle and to talk through their experiences and to have that close moment. That's one thing that we're really excited about. And then we're also bringing in Carla Marks, who's a trans drag comedian, performer. I saw her in Calgary a couple of months ago. She was amazing. And Bitch Sassity, who's #1 burlesque in Canada right now. And then while we've got them in town, we're like, okay, well, what can we do here? So they have a production company in Calgary called Cabco. And what they do is professional development workshops for queer artists and queer performance arts. So we're doing a session on how to take your character work, and because there's a lot of drag performers here locally and a lot of performance artists here that are saying, I don't know where to go with this. I don't know how to I want to evolve it, but I just don't know where to get the advice. So they're doing a session.
When's that session happening?
That's happening on, so Pride After Dark's the 11th. That's the 13th. And I think the drag ones in the morning are full, but then in the afternoon, Bitch Sassity, who's that #1 burlesque performer in Canada, she's performing at Pride After Dark, and then she's doing a burlesque workshop that afternoon. And then Carla's also a professor at the University of Calgary and Mount Royal University. So she has this show called History with a Drag Queen. And she's going to go at LSPU Hall, and the pitch on it is, we always talk about these upstanding queer people like Harvey Milk and Martha P. Johnson and all of these other ones. She's like, nobody ever talks about the gay villains. Nobody talks about the gay that sold out Oscar Wilde, or the gay Nazis, or that Roman emperor that used to kill his lovers to capture their youth and stuff like that. So she go and there's drag performances and worked in through it. And that event was really one that we were excited to bring in because we thought people would enjoy it, but also so that our performers that are hustling through this whole festival, because they're not just doing events that are on the Pride schedule. There's club nights. There's different things that are going on in and around the festival that these people are all working at. And the drag bingo, the Quadrangle's doing. So it's also a night for them to be like, put your feet up. You go get entertained for once. I think it's like $24 to go to the show. And we're just really excited to be able to have all of these different people that we're able to showcase and be able to do this exchange and this talent exchange and this kind of exchange of cultures and it's really microscopic. It's queer cultures from different parts of Canada, but they're still different. They've all got a little bit of flavor, and making those connections. Our performers here are going to benefit from that. These people are going to talk about their performances here. They're going to make connections that there could be shows happening elsewhere in the country where people are trying to co-produce something. So it's just really cool to see it all together, and we're just really hoping that we make it through it. Like, it's a long 11 days.
No doubt. Well, we always like to try to make people who have big calendars and stuff try to give us a rundown of everything that's going on and see how they do. So can you kind of give us a quick rundown of the dates and events for St. John's Pride 2025?
Quick?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I can do this. I just proofread the schedule to go to print for posters. Okay. So we start on July 9th at 12 p.m. at City Hall, where we do the flag raising, and Spectrum Queer Choir is gonna perform there with us. We have ASL for, I'll say when we don't have ASL, because we most often have ASL. And then I think at 3:30, I'm not going to say the times because those are the things we're going to get wrong. Later that afternoon, we're actually having a virtual panel that's called Queer Beyond the Western Sphere. So it's talking about the queer experience and queer histories of people who have racialized people rather than a white-centric view. Mm-hmm. That night, there's also a trivia night that's happening at Rocket Bakery downtown, as well as our monthly Beers for Queers event that we do with Kitty Vitty Brewery. And every month that we do that event, $1 from every pint sold goes to a queer charity that we pick out in partnership with Kitty Vitty.
Nice. Kitty Vitty's always doing good stuff up there.
They really do. They really do. We work really well with them, and we're really appreciative of it. And this month, because we're putting trans support in at the front of the parade, we identified them as the donors for that. So everybody that comes to the brewery that night, any beer that you buy, everyone's sold. $1 goes back to them. Okay, Wednesday. Thursday in the afternoon, we have the closed sharing circle for Two-Spirit communities with Jaylene Time while she's in town. And then later that evening at the Majestic Theatre, we're doing the first trans panel, which is the first panel, which is about trans journeys and kind of the journeys that they go through. And then Friday night, before Pride After Dark, there's a social that's just for closed racialized queer people, racialized and indigenous queer. And that's happening at Chic Celebrations at 302 Water Street. And then that's going to lead up to Pride After Dark. That's our big showcase that's happening that night at the Sheraton. And then on Saturday, Big Brothers Big Sisters is doing Family Pride.
Nice.
There's a event at, this one just got added, there's an event at the Theater Hill Cafe at the Majestic Theatre where different queer authors are going to be talking about different events that are doing. Breakwater Books is doing that.
Nice.
Oh no, there's more on that Saturday, but I'm blanking out. Okay, I'll go to the next day. So then we're doing the professional development workshops in the morning, and then First Light is doing a barbecue for Two-Spirit individuals and indigenous queer people and their families. And then that night we're doing History with a Drag Queen at LSPU Hall. Monday night is the Chosen Family Dinner that Quadrangle does every year. So that's happening at the Farmers Market. So it's free to the community. You just got to register, come in, have a meal with family. And then that night we're doing our second panel that Ray Roman's moderating called Who Keeps Us Safe? And it's talking about community safety and those kinds of things. Tuesday is, so every Tuesday in July since the 70s, aside from fire ban years, which we had last year, the community's been gathering for a fire at a beach in and around St. John's. And that's just about creating that safe community space. So we're doing that Tuesday night. Okay, where are we? We're at the second Wednesday. Okay, so that night is the queer film night at LSPU Hall with the St. John's International Women's Film Festival, as well as the singer-songwriter circle, I think. No, that's Thursday. Then we have Glitter Tits and Rainbow Bits, which is the burlesque showcase night that's happening up at Bella Vista. And then Thursday, we have Out in Faith is having their service. There's Dry Humor that's happening downtown. I can't remember the venue, but it's a dry comedy night. It's dry comedy, but also no booze. So for people that are looking for an event that's not booze fueled. And then that night is also the singer-songwriter circle that we're doing with Evelyn Jess at the First Light Center for the Performance Arts. And then the second Friday is the Drag on George event that's happening downtown. That next Saturday, there's something. What's happening the Saturday before the parade? Nope. Get an F on Saturday. And then it's so hot in here, too.
It's so hot. It's very hot in here, folks. It's very hot.
Remember Thursday.
We are. The building downtown. It's very warm.
I feel like I'm in an inquisition. It's like the lights are on you, and it's like, name all the events and all of the times.
We do like to put the pressure on.
Oh, my God. No, that's Sunday. So Sunday in the morning is the annual Pride Parade. So we start downtown. It brings thousands of people in the downtown. We go up Duckworth Street, swinging it around, and like dog lave back up in front of Government House, and we end at Bannerman Park. And that's where we're having Bannerman Park always closes out the parade, and we have vendors coming in and food trucks. There's a drag stage. There's a folk acoustic stage that's happening down closer to the ball fields. There's DJs that are set up in the middle. Oh, Saturday night. Got it. Saturday night is the Drag Bingo with Quadrangle, and it slipped my mind because it's sold out weeks ago.
Amazing.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's like a pretty good lineup. Where can folks
I miss things.
Where can folks see the schedule online to fill in the blanks?
They can go to stjpride.ca, or you can go to our social media. You can sign up for our newsletters, and then every day on social media, our social media team tries to put out the dailies. So you'll get a post that goes up in the morning, and it's basically, this is what's happening today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back for our musical performance.
Awesome.
Tonight's musical guest is a diatonic and chromatic accordionist, singer-songwriter, and self-described professional goofball. Whether she's fronting the fierce all-trans femme trad punk band Sheila's Bush, writing tender indie folk about queer love, or keeping Newfoundland's traditional tunes alive, she brings heart, humor, and incredible musicianship to every performance. Aramaria Yetman, welcome to the Hulk Caesar Show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
What do you have for us first?
So what I have for you first is a song I wrote about a year ago, and it's about it's a breakup song, but it's a little bit of a different breakup song. There's no hard feelings. It's when you know a relationship has run its course, but you wish it hadn't. I dated a girl who was in a different province, so it was a long-distance relationship. And we were together for about 5 months, and I visited her and stayed for 2 weeks in her parents' cabin. And at the end of those 2 weeks, we kind of both just looked at each other and were like, we can't do this again. Like, it was too painful. We didn't know when we were going to see each other again. So I was missing her one night after I had returned to Newfoundland, and this song came out. And here you are. It's called Since I Left Fredericton.
Great.
Also referred to as the Fredericton breakup song.
It's been 6 months now since I left Fredericton. Been wondering about you, babe. Is your floor still a mess? Are you stuck in bed? Did you ever get that job? You know I'm still writing songs, still playing along to the beat of my own dumb tune. I'm trying my best, but I must confess that it's lonely here without you. 'Cause I know I can't ask for more of your time, but all I want, all I need is to be there with you and do whatever we might do. I still miss you like the day I left. Do you still think of me when your bed's all empty? Does the thought of my touch make you wish you were mine? When you're home all alone and staring at your phone, do you wish I'd call and say hi? 'Cause when I'm home all alone and staring at my phone, I still think of you most of the time. But I know that you're happy and doing just fine. Still, all I want, all I need is to be there with you and do whatever we might do. I still miss you like the day I left.
Woo!
I like how jaunty that is.
Amazing. Very jaunty. Maria, you seem to have lots on the go. What have you been up to lately?
Oh, I've been up to, Yeah, a lot, to say the least. My band, Sheila's Bush, shout out to my band, we've been playing a lot of gigs, playing bars and doing house shows, and that's been really fun. And between that and then doing like things like this, and also job hunting, and trying to figure out if I'm going to go back to school, or if I'm going to move to Montreal, or if I'm going to stay here.
Aren't you also on the stage at the folk festival next weekend?
I am on the stage. Yeah, is that what you were asking me?
No, it's just what I thought of. But like, I was like, don't forget this.
Yeah, no. I am on the stage of the
On stage, singer-songwriter.
It's really funny, actually, because I was reached out and they were like, would you like to be playing the accordion in the instrument tent? And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I'd love to. And then I seen the bill. And I seen the other names on the bill, and I was like, oh goodness, okay, yeah, no.
Who else is on the bill?
Billy Sutton's on the bill, the accordionist for Danu, one of Ireland's top trad bands. Yeah,
so are you stoked?
He's from here. He's so good that he was scouted to play in their band.
Wow.
It's like Kate Bretner's going over and teaching Scottish people how to speak Gaelic.
And Graham Wells is on the bill.
Oh, I know Graham. Yeah.
Jason Russell and Ryan Baker.
Oh, yeah.
And Dave Penny.
Wow.
So a lot of really big names, and it's an honor that like they think I'm good enough to be playing with them.
Well, you are good enough.
Well, thank
I've seen you play a bit. Like you are good. You are good enough. It was really
I
cool
do
watching
believe
you.
that I am.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's just very like, ooh, freaky.
Are you excited to see them?
Oh, sure. I'm excited to play with them. What I'm most excited about is what I can learn from them.
Totally.
You know, like I can read sheet music, and that's how I learn a lot of music. Is I will listen to a recording of it to get the feel of it, and then I'll read sheet music, or I'll learn trad tunes at a session. The music I like to make with this box is more like I kind of use it like a mobile organ. Doing like big chords and everything. I find it really fun. And then my other accordion, which I'm going to play for you guys after, is the sort of traditional diatonic accordion, which I'm going to play a set that I wrote myself.
Super cool.
What's the difference between diatonic and chromatic?
Okay.
Okay, no, maybe we don't have time for this here. Okay.
A diatonic instrument is something that is made to play in a specific set of keys. Chromatic is something that can play in all keys.
Huh. Oh, wait.
The biggest difference between this and that is that this is chromatic, and it's the same note on the in and the out. Whereas that is two different notes, one on the in, one on the out. So you play them very differently. They are, strictly speaking, just different instruments.
Yeah.
Besides both being bellow-powered, free reed boxes, you finger them completely differently. You move them completely differently. It's a different feel.
I really also appreciate that we're here to promote the Pride Festival and we're talking about fingering boxes. I couldn't
Zing.
let it go.
I wanted to make that
You
joke,
cut it
but
in if you want.
I didn't.
I know, but you set it up for me.
We did it together.
They say that the accordion is a traditional instrument. Now, I grew up on Weird Al Yankovic, who shreds like a polka-infused rock and roll. What drew you to the instrument?
Oh, well, honestly, it was just a spur of the moment. I originally tried learning the guitar, but I found that with the way my brain works, the guitar was a very stressful instrument to learn. Having to have like a specific like place you put your finger on the fret, and then like a specific tightness or like pressure for your finger was really not intuitive for me. I also don't really have the calluses to be able to play guitar. And so I tried learning guitar, did a couple lessons, didn't really feel like it was for me. Went over to my grandparents' house one day because my grandfather is very musically inclined. And I asked, do you have any instruments lying about that I can have a go at? And he had this old baffed out shitty little box that, I don't know, was collecting mold in the attic. And so he gave it to me and he was like, you can try this out if you want. And I found the fact that I just had to click a button and pull it really simple and easy to understand. I really took to it.
It's amazing.
And after playing my diatonic for about 3-4 years, it couldn't play the kind of music that I saw myself writing. It's really good for folk music. That's what it's made for, and it excels.
Is that what you'd find most people around town kind of play?
Yeah, like that's what a lot of accordionists play. There's maybe one or two that like deviate, like myself. And so I got this because I feel as though it's not limited. It's unisonoric, one note, same direction, and also a lot more bass buttons. The way it works is you have 2 rows of bass notes where you have your circle of fifths, and then the third for it is right here. And then you have your major, minor, dominant, and diminished chords. So there's a lot you can work with.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, when are you performing at Pride this year?
At Pride, I'm doing 2 performances. I'm doing one as a solo performer, and I'm going to play Since I Left Fredericton again. Nice. And I'm going to probably play a song I wrote about sort of breaking out of a winter depression called Anyway. And I'm tempted to write another song for it.
Nice.
And then I'm playing with my band after that as Sheila's Bush. And that would be me with my diatonic accordion, my bandmate Than Brown on the mandolin and the boran, and then Rhea Vincent on the guitar and boran. And they switch depending like what tune. If I want the guitar or if I want the mandolin, then the other one will take the drum.
That's amazing.
Which shows are those?
Was that?
Are those both Pride After Dark?
No, that is Pride in the Park.
You're Pride in the Park.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then on the 19th, I'm playing. This is what I'm doing this month. So there's this today, and then on the 13th, I'm playing in the Folk Fest. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to play with them. And then on the 19th, Sheila's Bush is playing for Bannerman Fest. And we're doing like a full proper set for that. I'm really excited. 20th, we have Pride in the Park. Later that day on the 20th, I have a gig to play up in Mount Pearl.
Nice.
Nice.
And then the 27th, Sheila's Bush is playing Heavy Fest.
Awesome. Amazing.
Yeah.
Got a busy month.
I got a very busy month, but
Booked and blessed.
I think I'm going to be able to pay all my bills with just gig money
Amazing.
this month.
Nice. Thanks to our friends at the Resource Center for the Arts at the LSPU Hall, we have time for one more live performance. Aramaria Yetman, can you introduce your next song for us?
Yes, I can. So I'm going to do a set, and in trad music, a set is where you play 2 tunes, one after another, and the way traditional Newfoundland music is laid out or structured is you have part A, then you have part B, and you play part A twice, then part B twice, then part A twice, then part B twice, and then you're done. So I'm going to do 2 tunes, and they're both ones I wrote. The first is called Soup on a Saturday, where I was just cooking soup, and I started humming, and I was like, oh, I'm feeling this. I like this. And then went back into the studio, my bedroom, and wrote out a tune for that. And the other one is called Ara's Real Nice Jig. I never named it. Okay, this isn't me conflating my ego, though she is big. What it was, I wrote a reel, R-E-E-L, and that's a tune that's in 4/4. And I showed it to my bandmate, and I was like, do you like this reel? I'm going to call it Ara's Reel. And she was like, oh, that's fun. You wrote a nice jig. And I was like, what are you talking about? I thought I wrote a reel. And she was like, well, if someone was going to dance to it, they would dance a jig. And I was like, okay, well, I'm still going to call it Ara's Reel because Patty's jig is called Patty's jig, but that's a reel. So if he can do it, I can do it. Yep. And then she was like, yeah, it's Ara's Reel Nice Jig. And I was like, okay, all right, like that's what it's going to be named now. So here's that set.
Amazing. Love accordion. So good.
Watching somebody play an accordion, that's amazing.
Where can folks find you on the information superhighway?
Well, if people want to find me, I'd say the best place is just my Instagram. I haven't. I recorded my first song yesterday. It's
Nice.
not out anywhere, and I've still got to touch it up and everything. But you can find me on Instagram _Aramaria_. I also have a band page, and that's Sheila's Bush, and that's just Sheila_Bush. Right now, I'm kind of on the down low with my projects. You know, what's the saying?
The mystery.
What is it? It's like real G's work in the dark or something. But the band is band is gonna have an EP out by August.
Awesome.
Or in August, and I'm working on more originals, and that's kind of just like I'm in like a phase with my music where I feel like I've reached a level of skill with my instruments, both my vocals and my this accordion, where I feel like I can start producing, and so learning that software is kind of my next step of my career.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks so much for that performance.
No, thank you so much.
All right. Well, it's it's now time to play everyone's favorite game of questions, Caesar's Casual Conversations, with tonight's guests, Eddy and Aramaria. We have refilled the commemorative E.T. the Extraterrestrial hat with questions. Now you choose one and give it a brief answer. Choose one, read it out loud, give a brief answer. We'll all give a brief answer. And if you don't like the question, feel free to throw it on the ground and choose another one.
If you could have any job for a day, what would it be? Like, okay, wait, do I have to have the skills?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so this has always been my thing. I would love the opportunity and the skills to conduct a full symphony orchestra to the Florence and the Machine Ceremonials album. I think that would be.
Okay.
And she just did.
It's a very niche job.
Very, very niche. But like, if it was one day and I had one shot at it, that would be it. And she just did a Symphony of Lungs as part of the British Pops thing. It's on. Oh, it's amazing.
I think I would like to be the investment profile manager of a billionaire.
Ooh.
You do so much damage in a day. Well, like, I guess define damage. You know?
No, but actually, as an actual answer, I think I would love to be an entomologist for rare beetle species.
Oh, interesting.
I'd like to do, and just be around bugs for a day.
What about you?
I'd like to be an astronaut. I know, cliche, but I go to space and then I go to space, and then when they're like, "Well, it's time for you to come back now," I'd be like, "Oh, I didn't hear that," and turn the other way and
Gotta catch me now.
goodbye. All right, I'm gonna bring a question over.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever given to someone?
Ooh. You're allowed to choose another question if you don't like the question too.
No, it's fine.
Okay, all right.
It's good.
do you think?
I was waiting for you to answer.
No, you go first.
No,
Yeah, I don't know,
you
for
pulled
some
the
reason
question.
I thought you were going to answer first. Okay, the best piece of advice I'm ever after giving someone. I don't know.
Oh, do you have one?
You go first.
Say sorry and get over it.
Yeah.
That's mine. Like, I mean, my partner and I get into disagreements, as we will say, as an example. And whether it's that, even when it's doing like, even with the Pride Festival, because there's so much like work and energy, and everybody gets, everybody's tired. We're trying to pull this off, pull it together. Say sorry and get over it. Like at the end of the day, we're all gonna run into each other. We live in the same city.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Awesome.
Keep going. And I think that is what has stopped the impending stroke from happening. Soon.
All right, I gave it some thought. I think the best piece of advice I've ever given somebody would have to be, I had it on the tip of my tongue, I swear to God. Don't take it personally.
Oh yeah.
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 If you get rejected, or if you don't get hired, or if somebody doesn't answer your text, don't take it personally.
Yeah.
The thing that made it took me years to actually click into that, and it was somebody looked at me one day. It was like, everybody always acts in their best self-interest. It's not because of you. I'm not slighting you that you didn't even factor in. Everybody acts in their own self-interest, and that's when I got the oh, okay, don't take this personally.
Yeah.
If they have a problem with you, it's their problem.
Their problem.
That's right.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, I'll kind of piggyback on that one too. I think like just move forward. Like best to kind of look ahead than look back. I
Now,
think.
sometimes it's hard. I'm not perfect at it. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I tell this to myself.
For some reason, this is coming to my head, but when I was briefly in music school, the best piece of advice my professor ever gave me was some people practice until they get it right. You have to practice until you can't get it wrong. Or until, I think I said that right.
Oh, I like that.
I like it too.
I wish I would have had
But it's a lot of pressure. But
when we were training, training bartenders, or like flair bartenders, it was always you have to get it right 9 times out of 10. But yours is much better.
Right.
Till you can't mess this up, you don't get to do it out front.
Don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you can't get it wrong.
Yeah, I like that.
If you could invent a new holiday, what would it be? It would be the Happy Friday. Every Friday, you're off. It's a holiday on Friday. It's Friday Day.
I mean, that's just the 4-day work week. Talk to the labor movement; they'll get behind that. It's okay. So we got the moving holiday here in St. John's with the Regatta Day. It's weather dependent. Mm-hmm. I think there should be. I don't know if there needs to be a marker. Maybe it's a royal decree from the Lieutenant Governor's mansion. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But when we have like the real nice day of the summer, somebody should be able to pick up the phone and be like, "Shut it all down.
Yeah, I like
everybody
that.
go home. Yeah. Shut it all down.
Have a wild card day.
Yeah, just like give that power to the LG. Let her pick up the phone in the mansion and
I like it.
Call it out.
I think I'd want a holiday where it's called Lesbian Day, and only lesbians are allowed outside of outside their house,
Nice.
and you get a discount everywhere if you're a lesbian.
I like it.
But who runs the shops? Only the lesbian
Only
shops are open that day.
Yeah.
The Bee's Knees and the Travel Bug are going to be on wheels.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Also, Pride supporters, thanks a lot, Peg and Jerry.
All right, well, that's about all the time we have for tonight. Eddy St. Coeur, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks so much. This is so much fun.
A big thank you to Aramaria Yetman for joining us.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Here, we get you guys to sign the thing after, or the picture. We'll put it on the autograph wall.
Yes.
And here's your guest gift. There's one for you, and I'll bring you over one. That is volume 3 of our show zine, which is scenes from my 1996 high school agenda. That one covers when I took a disposable camera to the Avalon Mall in 1995 and told people I worked for the Telegram and took pictures of them working. And those are the pictures that I took.
My partner used to be Chris the Moose.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was like his first.
I'll tell you a story about Chris the Moose after.
Does Walmart have a hyphen in it? Like, is Walmart not one word?
Now it's got a hyphen. They changed it to a star.
Yeah.
If you look at the logo.
Yeah.
And you ever grow up calling Walmart Wally World?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, not me.
No?
What about calling McDonald's Rotten Routies?
No, Mackie D's.
I've heard both. Yeah.
All right. Well, you got something to say. Hulk at hulkshow.com. For Eddy, Aramaria, the absent Emily, and myself, I'm the Hulkster. Thanks for watching The Hulk Caesar Show.